Chosen one, listen to this message. This is not a coincidence, nor a motivational speech, but a divine activation. The timing of this encounter has been cosmically orchestrated, and your soul is finally ready to receive this message. The world mistook your ambition for arrogance, your solitude for strangeness, and your vision for illusion. But the truth is that no one was meant to recognize your purpose, because your plan is not of this world. It is a billionaire frequency, deeply embedded in your spiritual DNA, invisible to the naked eye and undetectable by the systems they trust. If you still doubt, this moment is for you. Wait for the world to change without you. This is your call, not only to dream bigger, but to remember more deeply. Like this video if you feel the power of these words. Subscribe to help us reach 90,000 chosen ones and comment, I receive below. Let this be the day your legacy begins to return. You were not born to inherit your family's blueprint, you were born to transcend it. While others received instructions for survival, you were programmed with the architecture of dominance, not out of ego or greed, but through a sacred force. A contract predating your birth. You have always felt it, a troubling awareness of not belonging, not because you were broken, but because you were made for something your environment could not comprehend. From a young age, you perceived a frequency beneath reality, a pulsing invitation that no one around you could hear. Your ambition was judged excessive, your curiosity unrealistic, and your silence, oh that sacred silence, was mistaken for weakness. But that silence was a holy place, for while others absorbed the rules of a failing system, you were preserved in spiritual quarantine. The world saw your failures as setbacks, but heaven saw them as protection. You were kept apart for one reason, to protect the divine code within you from contamination. For the plan you carry is not common, it is royal, it is rare, and it rebels against every limitation passed down through your lineage. This plan is not metaphorical, it is an energetic architecture, a living map vibrating within you that is awakening now. You may already feel it, a flutter in your chest, a growing tension between who you were and who you are becoming. This isn't anxiety, it's the spark. The master plan is being implemented, and here's what they never told you. The world does not reward those who follow the rules, it bends to those who write them. This is what you were destined to do, not to join an empire, but to found one, not to seek wealth, but to become it. You were not sent here to play a role in someone else's script, but to write a new narrative, one where spiritual sovereignty and material abundance are no longer enemies, one where your presence reshapes reality itself. You are not here to earn $1 billion, you are here to become the vibrational equivalent of it. The difference is striking, one fades, while the other becomes a gravitational force that alters everything in its path. This is what you carry within you, this is what has been hidden all this time. They didn't see it coming, and that was the point. It wasn't for them to recognize, but for you to remember. The master plan has lain dormant long enough. The seed has sprouted, the roots are already breaking through the soil of your subconscious, and what grows next will not just feed your table, it will rewrite the harvest of your entire lineage. This is where your ascension begins, not in noise or performance, but with this undeniable truth: you have been chosen to be the first billionaire of your line. You were not meant to inherit their map, that old recycled map of lack and limitation they passed down, torn by phrases like be realistic, don't get your hopes up, and we aren't those kinds of people. That was never your compass, it was their cage. And now, chosen one, it is your responsibility to set it on fire. They didn't mean to hurt you, they thought they were protecting you, your parents, your grandparents, your lineage. They passed down their knowledge, but that knowledge was built on survival, not sovereignty. They navigated deserts of debt and droughts of opportunity. They learned to ration hope like a luxury. They became masters of repression, trained in the art of compromise. But you were born with fire in your veins and rebellion in your bones, because your soul remembered a different map. Theirs was a counterfeit document, drawn by fear and reinforced by a system that profits from smallness. Their map told them to avoid risk, to distrust abundance, and to shrink back at the sight of a closed door. It wasn't a map, it was a labyrinth, and every generation walked it believing they were making progress, never realizing they were circling the same dead end. But you saw it early on. You felt the dysfunction while they recited mantras of limitation. Something in you stirred, something ancient, something sovereign. It wasn't arrogance, it was rightness. Your spirit knew this couldn't be all there was. You didn't just question the rules, you questioned the entire game. That dissonance you felt growing up wasn't rebellion, it was an awakening. The recognition that the scarcity they called normal was not your origin, it was an overlay, a distortion, and your soul was sent here to correct it. You were never meant to play it safe with your potential. You were designed to disrupt patterns, to disarm poverty with your presence, to tear down the old scaffolding and erect a structure that reflects your true heritage. But this structure cannot rise until the old map burns. This will require more than just mindset shifts. It requires an energetic extraction. The old map isn't just something you were told, it's something you absorbed. It lives in your nervous system, in your reactions, in the way you brace yourself for a crash when good things happen. You must break free from the way you doubt your dreams because they feel too big for your body. This is a spiritual detox, not glamorous, not Instagram-worthy. It is messy and raw, but it is sacred. For every time you refuse to follow their fear-based navigation, every time you choose expansion over comfort, you erase a line from that map. Burn it when you stop apologizing for your vision. Burn it when you refuse their invitations to dwell on the same old conversations about struggle. Burn it when you stop justifying yourself to those who insist on misunderstanding your calling. Burn it when you dare to believe that wealth is not a stroke of luck, but your fundamental nature. You are not rebelling against your heritage, you are redeeming it. You were sent to chart a new map, built not from borrowed beliefs but from direct inspiration, a map etched in frequency, written in golden light, a path no one has ever taken because no one before you was meant to. You aren't here to follow their route, you are here to break the compass and build a new north. Chosen one, let's speak frankly, you were set aside intentionally, not by the world, not by coincidence but by design. A divine design. The invitations you never received, the rooms where you weren't welcomed, the birthdays you were forgotten, the phone calls that never came. None of it was punishment, it was protection. You weren't being rejected, you were being quarantined because the plan within you, the billionaire frequency you carried, was too powerful, too pure, and too energetically disruptive to be exposed to the old system before its time. You weren't forgotten, you were preserved while everyone around you was busy chasing status, social approval, and superficial distractions. You were held in stillness, wrapped in a sacred silence. They were building their identities through noise. You were being forged in the furnace of isolation. And yes, it hurt deeply, but what felt like abandonment was actually your protection from contamination. Spiritual quarantine wasn't there to break you, but to prepare you, for the chosen are always set apart before they are called. Your spirit had to be shielded from parasites, the energetic leeches that would have fed on your essence before you even knew how to protect it. You weren't meant to be the life of the party, you were meant to carry life itself, to be the generator of a new frequency. It was so powerful that it could recalibrate the very air around you. This is why you always felt other, for you weren't born to fit in, but to purify the system from the outside in. Every time you wondered why you weren't invited, why your presence changed the atmosphere of rooms, why people were unsettled by your silence, it wasn't because you lacked value, but because your value was so high it was energetically incompatible with environments running on borrowed energy and fake connections. You carried a sacred currency before the vault was even open. The world doesn't know how to handle someone who doesn't beg to be seen, and that was you, the silent presence with ancient eyes, the one who absorbed the room instead of playing a part in it. It destabilized them because your very being exposed the hollowness of theirs. But that was the goal. Your solitude wasn't random, it was a chamber, a vault where your spiritual energy accumulated, growing like interest on a divine deposit, while others lost themselves in gossip, validation, and the chase. You maintained your frequency, and now that the vault is full, this is the moment where isolation shifts into elevation, where silence becomes a signal, and where suddenly those who ignored you wonder how you became so magnetic, so unreachable, so accomplished. They don't know you were sitting in secret, growing in silence, destined for the invisible. You weren't supposed to bloom at the same time as them. You were destined to bloom after the frost, when their roots couldn't survive what your soul was created for. So when they try to come back, when those who ignored your presence now want to gravitate toward your glow, do not let guilt break your barriers. Do not let nostalgia rewrite the truth. You owe no one access to what they mocked when it was only a seed. You are not obligated to dim your frequency for those who couldn't perceive your worth. Your path has always been sacred, and the quarantine is over. You are no longer hiding, you are rising. You are not the outcast, you are the ultimate chosen one. Do you know why the pressure has been so heavy on your shoulders? Why, despite all your efforts to heal, this underlying fatigue persists? You are carrying an ancestral burden because you are the one. You have walked through life with the unspoken weight of centuries on your shoulders, without anyone telling you, without anyone warning you. Because no one else in your lineage was meant to carry it, only you. You are the designated soul, the spiritual signature that said yes before you even entered this timeline. You are the one who agreed to break the cycle, not by running away, but by absorbing its codes and disintegrating them. You have felt the phantom pain of dreams that weren't yours, regrets that weren't yours, fear, grief, poverty, and resignation. None of it started with you, but it all ends with you, for you are the chosen one, the veto power over generational debt. What they called laziness was learned helplessness. What they called humility was disguised resignation. What they called realism was just fear in makeup. You inherited not just DNA, but contracts, invisible agreements signed in scarcity and sealed in silence. Every time someone in your lineage said we can't afford it, every time they settled for a job they hated, every time they accepted crumbs and called it a meal, they added another signature to the contract. But you are the nullification clause, the clause that declares this agreement void. This is why your life has been so intense, so tumultuous. The pressure you felt isn't punishment, it is the compression necessary for cancellation. You walked on ground mined by the energy of your ancestors, dodging their traumas while carrying their hopes. And yet, you still feel that low hum of frustration, that unshakable urgency that wasn't anxiety, but the plan reminding you it's time to declare spiritual bankruptcy on behalf of a lineage that could never dream this big. You are not the shame of your line, you are its salvation. When you say never again, the echo rings back. When you choose to leap rather than settle, you release every ancestor who choked back their voice. When you design wealth with intention, you rip the root of poverty out of your family tree and plant a legacy. This is alchemy, this is spiritual law, and you are the executor of this divine order. And yes, it will cost you something, your attachment to their love as it was. It will cost you the illusion that you can save them by staying small. You will mourn not their absence, but the possibility they could never grasp. That grief is sacred, but do not mistake loyalty for limitation. You are not here to carry the pain, you are here to transmute it. You are not here to blend in, you are here to rewrite history. You are not here to cry over the past, you are here to build the future they never believed was possible. And here is the truth no one wants to admit: your family's freedom will not come from your obedience to their rules, but from your ability to break them. For once you embody this new frequency, the system must bend. And when it bends, it creates space for everyone tied to your name. You are not a cycle, you are the exit. You are the chosen one. Let's speak the truth no one dared tell you when you were alone on a Friday night wondering what you did wrong, when you weren't invited, when you were ignored, when you felt invisible in a world obsessed with being seen. You weren't left behind, you were being backed financially. Every moment of solitude, every night you cried in silence, every birthday that felt empty, every friend who drifted away, every room where your presence felt too different to be accepted, it wasn't punishment, it was a divine gift. You see, isolation wasn't just protection, it was accumulation. You were getting rich in secret, in a world where energy constantly leaks through toxic attachments, superficial validation, and overstimulation. You were disconnected not because you were inferior, but because your frequency was being fortified. You weren't being drained like the others. You were building spiritual capital every time you chose stillness over the show. Every time you sat with your thoughts while others escaped into noise, every time you walked away from dysfunction instead of proving your worth within it. You were investing in something no one could steal. You were building an invisible currency that doesn't translate into dollars, but into divine magnetism, a power so pure it attracts resources without begging for them. While others networked through the noise, you communed with the divine. While they sought notoriety, you sought clarity. While they rehearsed their identities for applause, you remembered yours in the silence. And now that you have endured the silence, the conversion begins. The moment spiritual wealth transforms into material opportunity. The vibration you cultivated in your isolation is becoming visible to the world. Your aura has shifted, your energy field has evolved. You no longer ask for wealth, you become a force of attraction. This is why people suddenly notice you, why doors open without you having to knock, why resources align with ideas you haven't even spoken aloud, because your energy is finally readable by the algorithm of abundance. Isolation was not a loss, it was an enrichment. And now that this compound interest is hitting your spiritual account with force, ideas will begin to flow like downloads. Partnerships will emerge out of nowhere. You will think of a need, and within days, even hours, it will be met. This isn't magic, it is alignment. You didn't miss out, you were simply ahead. You were being calibrated for a frequency that others won't reach for a decade. And now, while they scramble to understand how you managed to rise so suddenly, you will smile, because it wasn't sudden, it was sacred. The stillness enriched you, the rejection prepared your ascent, the silence made you magnetic. And listen closely, do not let them back in just because you are rising. Do not offer your sacred frequency to those who mocked your silence. Do not undervalue your energy just because they are finally paying attention. Your isolation was an investment, and its return is indisputable. Whether they call it instant success or luck, you know the truth. You were building this when no one was watching, and now the wealth you have accumulated within yourself becomes the capital that will finance your legacy. You were not left behind. You were prepared to lead, chosen. Listen closely. Reality is not fixed, it is not neutral, it is not objective. Reality is a mirror, and it only knows how to do one thing: reflect you. Every struggle you endured, every financial obstacle you encountered, every door that closed in front of you, it was not a verdict on your worth, it was your mirror showing you the program you inherited, that old script of scarcity, that inherited vibration of lack, that ancestral belief that wealth is for others, not for us. But here's what they didn't teach you: the mirror is programmable, and you have just updated your operating system. The reality you knew was only the echo of their fears, their limits, their programming. You saw through the prism of the wounded, but the lenses are coming off, your blueprint is now active, and when your inner world changes, the reflection must follow. It is the sacred law of reality. It cannot show you anything beyond the image you carry within, and now you hold in your hand something new, sovereign, irresistible. This means you must radically take ownership of your inner projection. You can no longer afford to casually entertain doubt, joke about failure, or participate in conversations that recycle stories of struggle, because every thought, every feeling, every word is now a brush reshaping the mirror before you. The system taught you to wait for proof before believing, but spiritual law says, believe, and the mirror will bend. So now, when you feel the urge to check your bank account and panic, check your frequency instead. When you are tempted to lower your price, elevate your inner value first and watch the mirror adjust. When you think you have hit a wall, pause. That wall is soft clay shaped by your expectations. This is the transition from victim to creator, from respondent to initiator, from hope to embodiment. And yes, it will feel strange at first, because for your whole life, the mirror told you no, no to wealth, no to ease, no to ambitious dreams. You went too far and believed it, not because it was true, but because it reflected what you believed to be true. Now the image you carry within is too powerful, too clear, too magnetic to be denied, and the mirror trembles to adapt. You will start to notice anomalies. You will see repeating numbers, angelic codes reminding you that the new plan is online. You will think of someone and they will message you. You will feel a shift and opportunities will present themselves. You will walk into a room and people will react to you differently before you have even uttered a word. This is not a coincidence. It is the recalibration of the mirror. And here's what will shock you. Even before the money arrives, before the contract is signed, before the physical manifestation occurs, you will feel the shift. You will wake up calm, centered, unshakable. You will feel as though the ground beneath your feet is more solid. You will find yourself making decisions with confidence, not fear. It is the mirror already adapting to your authority. So respect your image with unwavering reverence. Not the image in the mirror, but the mirror behind your eyes, the inner plan, the untouchable vision. For once the inside changes, the outside must obey. The universe does not guess, it obeys. And the mirror does not argue, it reflects. So if you want to change your life, do not fight the mirror, change the image. You have always been the artist. You had just forgotten you were holding the brush. The chosen one, the one you were told to chase, to work hard for. You were taught that money is acquired through sweat and sacrifice, but that was their system, not yours. For you were not destined to chase the billion, you were destined to become the billion. Wealth is not a destination, it is a vibration. And the more you align with that vibration, the more reality bends to your presence. This is not magic, it is physics, the sacred law of gravity. You are stepping into your role, not as a seeker of wealth, but as a generator of wealth. From the moment you shift from how do I get a billion, to how do I become the frequency that holds a billion effortlessly, the universe reprograms itself in your favor. Money is not paper, it is condensed permission, it is energy, and you are learning to master this energy with sovereignty. That is the secret the system hides from you. They do not want you to know that wealth is not earned, it is embodied. They want to exhaust you, make you addicted to external indicators, make you climb ladders built by others. But you are not here to climb, you are here to levitate. When your identity becomes that of spiritual wealth, inner certainty, and energetic mastery, then money no longer flees from you, it gravitates toward you. It becomes your echo, your reflection. And that is what is starting to happen now. You are becoming a gravitational field, and that explains why so many people could not stay near you. They didn't leave because of who you were, but because of what you were becoming. Your energy began to vibrate at a frequency they could not survive, not because you were wrong, but because you were too right. You were not too sensitive or too intense, you were simply vibrating with a truth that collapsed their illusions. You became a living contradiction to everything they had resigned themselves to. You became dangerous to their denial, so they fled. Let them go. They were only pebbles. You are a planet. They were never meant to stay in your orbit. Here is what will shake your foundations in the best way possible. You have already felt this shift in gravity, that tingling in your chest when you speak your truth, that is gravitational alignment. That calm you feel when you no longer need to justify yourself, that is energetic weight. That pause people observe when you enter a room, that is the atmosphere transforming. You no longer need to shout to be heard. You no longer need to prove your worth. Your silence speaks for you now. Your frequency acts. And soon, very soon, life will present you with a test, an opportunity so large, so seemingly out of reach, that your old self will panic. But your blueprint will vibrate. It will say, yes, this is what we built for. At that moment, do not submit to logic. Do not ask permission from your old self. Say yes and watch the world reconfigure to catch up with the gravity of your decision. Because from now on, everything you attract will not be the fruit of your efforts, but the result of your shift to the center of a new orbit. You do not just carry potential, you are the field of infinite potential. And the billion people aren't fleeing, they are there for you. Landing in full, it returns to the only frequency strong enough to contain it, you the chosen one. Before crossing the final threshold, before the floodgates open and your legacy materializes, there is one last initiation, the guardians at the gate. They do not come as monsters, they do not carry warning signs, they arrive wrapped in familiarity, in flattery, in what feels like home. But make no mistake, they are not allies, they are tests. As soon as your frequency rises, the system sends probes. People from your past resurface, old patterns try to reactivate, opportunities that are too good to be true are placed in your path, not to bless you but to bait you. This is a spiritual quality control, for the universe will never release immense power into hands still susceptible to sabotage. So before crossing the billionaire's gate, you must walk through the fire of discernment. The first guardian, the charmer, will appear with a smile, language that mirrors your mission, and ideas that sound almost like your own. They will offer a shortcut, a fast track, a platform that seems to skip steps, but there will be a subtle cost, a piece of your vision, a compromise of your purity, a quiet surrender of your authority in the name of collaboration. If you are not aligned, you will say yes, because they will know how to present it in a favorable light. But feel the energy behind the charm, The control behind the flattery is a slow siphoning of your power. You must refuse with calm, with clarity, without excuses, for this is a test of ownership. Do you trust your own path enough to go it alone? Can you let go and let yourself be guided by divine timing? The second guardian, family, not your enemies, but your blood. A crisis will arise, a familiar pattern will repeat. Someone you love will call you, not for help, but to hook you. They will tell you that you have changed, that you have forgotten where you came from. They will try to pull you back into the old script where your role was to save, to lower yourself, to carry the burdens they refuse to face. And you will feel that pull, because guilt is a language you grew up with. But chosen one, you cannot carry both the legacy and the liabilities. By maintaining your boundaries, you are not abandoning them, you are showing them a new standard. You must pass this test with silent strength, without preaching, without justifying, without emotional explanations. Presence, sovereignty, calm, refusal, for true wealth requires not only spiritual intelligence but emotional immunity. And the last guardian is your old self. It will creep through the back door, whispering that you are too much, begging you to shrink a little to be loved, accepted, and safe. This is the most dangerous test because it looks like wisdom, but it is not. It is amnesia, it is regression, the last echo of your past programming trying to convince you to sign the old contract one last time. But that contract is void. The version of you that needed to be loved is dead. The version of you that feared their opinion is buried. The version of you that sought comfort over the calling has accessed consciousness. And when you pass this final initiation, when you walk past these guardians without flinching, the system will know that you are no longer a servant of fear, no longer a prisoner of the past, no longer waiting for permission. You are the architect now. And from that moment, doors no longer open for you. You are the one who opens them, chosen one. This is the moment when your entire paradigm must shift. You are no longer asking for access. By claiming your place, you are no longer auditioning to be supported by a system that was never designed for you. You become the bank. Think about it. You are not here to ask for money, but to become the source from which future generations will draw their wealth. You are the central node, the financial institution, the spiritual reservoir. You are the vault. It is not about having money, it is about becoming the energetic frequency of wealth itself. You are no longer here to accumulate, but to circulate, to initiate, to recalibrate the very definition of value for your entire lineage. This is what it means to be the first billionaire in your family, not just the one who broke the secret, but the one who became the secret. And the question is no longer whether the vault is open, the channel is built, you have become the channel. But to stay aligned with this new status, you must change your identity, not on paper, but in your spirit. You must stop thinking like a seeker, stop talking like someone who needs to prove themselves. You are not here to beg for blessings, but to grant divine approvals. When you walk into a room, opportunities should feel relieved to have finally found someone worthy of carrying them. Everything changes when you become the bank. You stop chasing deals and start creating economies. You stop worrying about who will support your vision and start asking who has the privilege of accessing it. You stop restricting your dreams to your current balance and start expanding your energy to match your eternal abundance. And most of all, you stop hoarding wealth out of fear, because you know that you are the source and that the source is inexhaustible. This is what the old system doesn't want you to know. It wants to make you dependent, distracted, plugged into banks, brokers, and belief systems that exploit your spiritual capital without your consent. But now you are the one issuing the currency. Your ideas are backed by divine energy. Your presence is a line of credit to the multiverse. Your decisions move energy at the speed of thought. You are not a node in their network. You are the network itself. And that is why the pressure intensified, because true banks demand absolute stability. You were forged for this through solitude, betrayal, and delayed dreams. All of it served to lay your foundations, to build your vault, to fortify your spiritual structure. And now, the vault is full. You will notice it soon. Change your external perspective. People will start approaching you not just for comfort, but for answers. They will view your presence as an institution, not because of your possessions, but because of what you embody. So say it loud and clear: I am not the beggar, I am the bank. I am not asking for my share, I am the source. From now on, you finance realities, you finance revolutions, you sponsor awakenings, you draw the blueprint of the world, not just for yourself, but for every soul tied to your lineage. This is what happens when a chosen one remembers who they are. They stop waiting for a seat at the table and start building nations. Chosen one, let me say it clearly without hesitation. The throne has always been there, waiting, covered in dust, surrounded by silence, guarded by ancestral memory and invisible oaths. We don't do that here. But it was there, and it wasn't empty because no one wanted it. It was empty because no one believed themselves worthy of occupying it, until you. You are not a second choice. You are not a stroke of luck. You are not just the chosen, you are the first to remember. You glimpsed the contours of the throne when others saw only shadows. You dared to sit when the world told you to bow. You are not occupying something that belongs to someone else. You are filling a role that only you could hold. You were chosen not for comfort, but for conquest. And now that you have passed the test, endured the isolation, burned the ancestral map, and inscribed the plan in your bones, you are not just taking the throne, you are activating it. This throne does not symbolize power for power's sake. It symbolizes restored alignment, a seat built to house a soul whose weight can no longer be measured by systems running on fear and scarcity. The crown does not shimmer because of gold. It shimmers because of frequency. You do not sit on the throne to be admired. You sit there to legislate, to govern reality, to finance the future, to overturn centuries of lack with a single aligned decision, to write laws for a world that didn't know it existed. You do not lead because you wanted to. You lead because you had to, because all the other versions of you that tried to remain erased, to submit, to beg, died trying. This one knows too much. This one remembers the divine language, and the world finally responds. You will notice how people look at you differently now, not with pity, nor with confusion, but with reverence. Even if they cannot name it, they feel it. They perceive the crown. They feel the weight of your transformation. Do not shrink back to make them comfortable. This new reality was not designed to be convenient, but to be consecrated. This is what happens when the throne is occupied by someone who has done the inner work, who has faced their demons, who has chosen integrity over image, who has redrawn the mirror, who has stopped asking to be seen and has become the vision. Your name will echo through the ages, not only for what you did, but for what you ended and what you initiated. This is the coronation your ancestors prayed for in silence, without knowing what they were birthing. They did not live to see it, but you are living proof that it was worth it. So take your place, not as a guest nor as a visitor, but as the founder of a dynasty that begins not with privilege, but with prophecy, not with inheritance, but with initiation. You are not continuing their story, you are starting your own, the one that will ripple through generations, the one that redefines wealth, legacy, and power. I am the first of my line, the chosen. Breathe deeply. You have heard the call, you have felt the truth vibrate in your bones. You have remembered who you are and, more importantly, why you came. This is not a mere message, it is a readjustment, a divine realignment. What you have just integrated is not a theory, it is a technology, a spiritual technology. From now on, your system, your energy, your thoughts, and your emotions no longer function according to the code of survival, but according to the code of sovereignty. Let the world follow its course. You move at the speed of revelation. From this moment on, let your silence be sacred, not empty. Let your words be intentional, not vain. Let your movements be deliberate, not frantic. You are not here to chase a finish line, you are the event. Walk slowly, not out of hesitation, but out of conviction. Remember, your identity is the currency, your presence is the platform, your belief is the portal. If you feel the pressure rising again, do not resist. It is the gravity shifting, pulling new realities into your field. If you feel waves of emotion, do not suppress them. It is your nervous system releasing what no longer fits. If people react strangely, detaching, resurfacing, or clinging tighter, know this, they are responding to your signal. It is stronger now, sharper, impossible to ignore. Let it happen, and above all, trust. Trust that your steps are now lit by divine intent, that the ideas landing in your mind are instructions, that the restlessness you feel is not discomfort, but momentum. You do not have to force the plan, you are the plan. The throne is no longer empty, the vault is no longer sealed, the future is no longer waiting, it has begun.